Hello and welcome to Divorce on Planet Earth, Kate Sharf's real world advice for well-intentioned humans. I'm your co-host, Jane Prellinger.
And I'm Kate Sharf.
Hello, Kate.
Hey, Jane.
So this is part 2 of our series called The Divorced Parents Pledge, 30 Things You Should Promise Your Kids. So, Kate, this is a collection of things that we've heard in our practice. You're addressing here themes that you and I have come across in our clinical work.
Yeah. We've heard them from kids we've worked with. We've heard them from adult children of divorce. I've heard some of them coming out of my own kids' mouths.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And since we're picking up with episode 6 today, I want to remind people that if you missed the first episodes, you can always go back to Divorce on Planet Earth. I think episode 8, which has...
Yeah, we're not picking up at episode 6. We're picking up at number 6 of the pledge.
Oh, that's
But I think it's episode 9. It's episode 9. There we go.
Okay, perfect. Kate, what she said.
We are all
what
confused.
She said. Okay.
It's episode 9 of Divorce on Planet Earth.
Okay, and today we're going to do clauses 6 through 10.
Yes.
Okay, let me start with clause number 6. We know you hate it when we don't give you a say over your own lives, and we know that the schedule we designed when you were 4 might not work when you're 14. So we'll listen with open minds and accommodate your wishes when we can.
Yeah. I mean, really, one of the biggest complaints I hear from kids of all ages is nobody ever asked me what I wanted or how I felt. And it's a bit of a dilemma because we never want to give kids the power to, exactly decide. I mean, that would be a burden, right? If we said to an 8-year-old, who do you prefer and where do you want to spend your time and what schedule? And they will sometimes tell you, like, I want to do what Tommy does down the street, or they'll say to their therapist, I want to spend weeknights with my mother because she helps me with my homework, and I want to spend every other Friday through Saturday at 5 with my mother. Or sometimes they'll just say, I kind of want equal time, and they don't really know what that means exactly, but that reflects a feeling. So, but at the same time, and especially as they get older, it's very important for them to have a voice and maybe, the driving voice. And their needs really do change. So and actually what your needs change and what you're able to do changes. So if you do a schedule, when you get divorced when your kids are little, where the weeks are kind of split and the weekends alternate, that might work for a while, but then they might reach a point where they just can't stand that number of transitions, and they really need to be heard on that. So I think finding a way to bring the kids' voices into the process without actually, making them little adults or giving them too much power is really important. And you should be thinking about ways to do it. And if you're having trouble striking the right balance, getting a consultation with a mental health professional who really knows this stuff is a great idea.
Yeah, really, really important. On to clause number 7. If a time comes when you want to spend more time with one of us, we won't assume it means you love the other less or are running to the more permissive parent. Your needs for closeness and distance will shift between us as you grow up. That's normal.
Yeah, it really is. I'm not saying that there aren't times where the fact that a child wants to spend more time with one parent over the other doesn't reflect a problem. And it could be, that the parent that they don't want to spend as much time with is just like kind of always working and not really available, or they're too strict, or, and then, that's a moment for, some parent coaching or some, therapy or something, or maybe to let it be true, that they're, for now, more comfortable in one place than the other. And I mean, there are a number of, various permutations, but most of the time, it really kind of does reflect a developmental point, and it's very easy. In fact, you couldn't not feel hurt by that, right? If your kid said, I want to spend a little more time with the other parent. But it doesn't mean that they aren't going to want to swing back in a year or so. And it also may be that it isn't really to do with either of you, that it has to do with where their friends live.
Yes.
They just want to be able to
definitely.
play with Jimmy after
Definitely.
school. And those are important considerations.
On to clause number 8. We won't treat you like burdensome objects to be lugged around. When we growl things at each other like, hey, pickup was at 2, now I'm late for Pilates, it makes you feel like a junky couch we left on the curb for the Salvation Army.
Yeah. The points of transition between one parent, and another parent are always the most vulnerable, like the most potentially difficult because, if you're mad at your spouse, it's going to come out around, whatever's going on when you're with them. And, it may actually be that they're late and it's causing you a problem, but it may just be that you're pissed that you have to send your kid off. But the effect on your kid is always that the transitions are fraught and uncomfortable and they're a burden to you.
Yeah. Clause number 9. We won't scrub the house of evidence of each other like it's suddenly a hazmat zone. We'll duplicate photo albums so you'll have them in both places. And if you want our wedding portrait in your room, we'll cheerfully supply it.
I have gotten some letters on this one. There are people who have said to me, that's weird. Like, why would you have your wedding picture in your house? Like, won't that upset your child or, make them sad? Or aren't you sending a mixed message? The answer is, I don't think so. Like, I think it would be weird for you to have a wedding picture in your living room. But, it's important to say, to convey to your kid, you came from somewhere. We don't have to pretend it didn't happen. We don't have to erase it. And it's fine that you still, want to know about the time we got married. And it's fine that you still love your mother and want pictures of her around and that helps you feel more at home here. And I really do think it's important to have albums in both places, like to share pictures, which is easier now than ever because everything's online. And to have pictures that reflect the actual, like, historical reality.
Yes.
I mean, if you take them out, what's the message? It means, you're, I am constructing a new reality the way I want it to be never happened. Right.
Clause number 10. We won't criticize each other in your presence. And we'll remember that rolling our eyes counts and that you overhear about 95% of our phone conversations.
Yeah, it's true. They don't, they're probably not asleep when you think they are.
Yeah, totally.
They overhear everything because they're trying to. And they just don't miss anything. Now, you can't be perfect. Like, we've all been guilty of rolling our eyes. I mean, even happily married people do that. But, you can make an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our next installment, we'll pick up with clause number 11. In the meantime, our pledge is by no means exhaustive. It's sort of a work in progress. So if listeners would like to write in with their own suggested clauses, we would love to hear them.
We would. Now, this is where we would usually share our spliticisms, but as I said last time, in this series, I'm going to end each installment with this thought. Take the pledge. It's important, and the ideas in it are good. Do your best to keep your promises to your kids. But as we say here a lot, this is tough stuff, and you are only human. So when you screw up, and you will, own it. If it makes sense, apologize. Use the moment as a learning opportunity for you and your kids. And finally, give yourself a break. You will get a lot more parenting points. In other words, it'll mean more to your kids to watch you in your ongoing effort to keep their needs front and center and self-correcting when necessary than you will for hitting the sweet spot in any given moment.
Hear, hear. Thanks for listening to Divorce on Planet Earth, Kate Scharf's real-world advice for well-intentioned humans. We invite you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Divorce for Humans. That's Divorce, the number 4 Humans, and on YouTube at Divorce on Planet Earth. That way you'll know when we have a new blog post, video, or podcast. Speaking of blogs, you can read Kate's at divorceonplanetearth.com. And if you have a general divorce question or an idea for a show topic, please write to us at info@divorceonplanetearth.com. We'd love to hear from you, and we promise not to share your personal information, including real name and email address. Please remember that the ideas we share here can never fully address any one listener's specific situation and are not offered as therapy or divorce coaching and are not intended as a substitute for clinical services. Divorce on Planet Earth is produced by Eric Pagero. Our music was composed by Ben Kaunitz. I'm your co-host, Jane Prelinger.
I'm Kate Scharf.
Talk to you next time.